Hi there, it's Ed, and welcome to episode 20. Can you believe it? That's right, episode 20 of the classic traveler adventures of Anselm. Last time, as you recall, Anselm and Hormoz were going to begin their second day of investigating this naval base to find out who is sending these threatening messages to the director of the scout base. However, as they began their inquiries for the day, they were stopped by the commander of this base, David Jen, and Zoe Say, someone who had kind of randomly shown up at the base, and Hormoz could tell was not exactly what she was appearing to be. As a matter of fact, he didn't realize how correct he was, because it turned out that Zoe is a representative, an agent of a Imperial group that hunts out psionic individuals. Now, quick aside, last time I said I thought there was a group already in Traveler Canon that did that. I couldn't find one. I did do a search, so apparently maybe that doesn't exist, or I read something else. Anyway, so now there is, at least in my version of the Traveler universe, there is the, what name did I come up with? The Imperial Psychic Enforcement Bureau. There we go. So Zoe is an agent of the Imperial Psychic Enforcement Bureau, and she stopped saying that either Hormoz or Anselm had exhibited psionic powers. And of course, that made Hormoz extremely nervous, and as we know, when Hormoz gets nervous, psychic powers may manifest, and they did. Teleportation is what came out, and Hormoz teleported without his clothes. Somewhere in the general vicinity. Which turned out to be a bad problem, because later on, as they did take Anselm to the brig, and they searched Anselm's remaining clothing, they did find the Psionic Institute pin that Anselm had previously found on one of the modular cutters. Ooh! Things are looking bad for Anselm, and what has happened to Hormoz? Have the naval people here, or has Zoe Say found Hormoz after his teleportation? We shall find out as we rejoin Anselm. Yeah, last time was pretty chaotic, if you've seen that. If not, go back and watch that episode. Extremely chaotic. I think it's crazy I'm at episode 20 already. Anyway, enough about that. First thing I'm going to do is update my lists. We did, the whole event with Hormoz happened because we rolled close a thread. So I'm going to say Train Hormoz is now no longer a thread, even though we're using the mythic mystery process to go through this mystery. But Train Hormoz is now no longer a thread. And I'm going to remove Hormoz from, am I removed from the characters list? See, because I could leave him. I left Simon, who Anselm found earlier. He is still on there, so I think I'm actually going to leave Hormoz on the list, because Hormoz potentially could show up in the future, just maybe not as a thread. So I am going to leave Hormoz as a character, because I like Hormoz. I would like to see him return. And I'd like to see Simon return. Anyway, so we're going to leave that alone. Chaos Factor last time was 7. I don't think they were in control at all last time. So I am going to bump that up to 8. Phew! Alright. This also brings up the question, are they going, or is he, now just singular, is Anselm going to be able to finish his investigation? Ooh, a lot of questions. So here are my first questions. Is Anselm going to complete his investigation? And Director Cavalon back at the scout base didn't know about Hormoz's abilities. Anselm hasn't told anybody. So is that going to put him in a bad light with Director Cavalon, potentially the entire scout service? Oh, Anselm may not have access to the ISS Raven scout ship anymore. Oh dear, this could be bad on a lot of fronts. So we will see what happens as we roll the dice. All right, let's see. So we've changed that. All right, we have our mystery matrix. We're still trying to figure that out. That may be a moot point at this point. Updated threads, updated characters, updated chaos factor. So here we go. So let's see what happens next. So normally in Mythic, we do our expected scene and we test to see if that's actually going to happen. I said last time that Anselm is in the brig. Before that happened, I do feel that once Hormoz disappeared, the Zoe Say would turn to David Jen and say, you need to send out a team right now to find him. You've got to find this individual. We have to apprehend him, take him into custody quickly. And Commander Jen's like, yes, of course. Let me scramble the fighters. And so he does call for Avery Fry and Tara Jha to quickly leap into the modular cutters and do a sweep of the area to see if they can find him. So here's my question. Do they find Hormoz? Ugh. Let's see. He did teleport. We know it was 0.3 of a mile. I figured that out last time. And we are at Chaos Factor 8. So how likely is it that they're going to find Hormoz? technically, I think that should be a 50-50 chance, which is actually a 85% chance or less that they will find Hormoz. I'd really kind of like, personally, Hormoz to get away. But we let the dice decide things here. That's why we do things in this YouTube video channel thing, by gum. So we're going to see. 50-50 or unlikely. No, I'm just going to go 50-50. That's what I said. All right. Hopefully my desk cam will not be blurry this time. Here's hoping. All right, so do they find Hormoz? So again, like I say, that is at a chaos factor of 8. That is an 85% chance or less that, yes, they do find Hormoz. So let's see what happens. What happens to Hormoz? 34, yes, they do. Yes, they do. It is not an exception, yes, but they do. So Hormoz, when he shows up naked, out away from the base, obviously, young fella, he panics and doesn't really know what to do, and he just runs randomly in a direction. And I'm going to say it is not too long before he is picked up with, by one of the modular cutters. Let me roll, see who gets him. Is it Tara or is it Avery? I'm just going to roll a d6 for that. So 1 to 3 is Tara. 4 to 6 is going to be Avery. Who actually grabs Hormoz? 1. So that is Tara. Okay. Here's a question. We know that somebody on this base had that Psionic Institute pin, and it was found in the modular cutter. Now, anybody could have been in there, but since Avery and Tara are the pilots, they're probably in there more than anybody else. Maybe the mechanics would be in there more often. So, do we want to roll and see if it's Tara's? Because if she finds him... Interesting idea. I kind of think I do want to see if it's hers. All right. Oh, but I kind of like leaving that a mystery whether it's hers or not. You know what? I'm going to say we're not going to roll that right now. It may be Tara's, but we're not going to roll right now. We're going to leave that a bit of a mystery for the while. So, Anselm is put in a brig. They do go out. They survey the area. Tara and Avery do a sweep with, I'm sure they have some sort of instrument, some kind of radar, sonar, scanning things, and they do find Hormoz. Probably took some of the other people to help apprehend him. We don't really have any quote-unquote security people, but I'm going to say that they do land, they find him. With a 34, I'm going to say they get Hormoz without much problem. He does not manifest any more psychic abilities, so they do come out, they have a gun, they draw him in, they put him in binders, they send him down. I want to say they probably put like a bag over his head too, because they don't know exactly how he manifests his powers. Perhaps he has to see. They have a way where they feel secure that he's not going to do something with him. Anyway, they do take him back to the base. So now we have Anselm and Hormoz. So my expected scene, now that they're back... does Anselm know that Hormoz is back? That would be an important question. I'm going to say that's also... I'm going to say Anselm is in the brig. He probably doesn't know. So I'm going to say that's actually very unlikely, which is a 65% chance or less that he does know. So let's see. Does he know that Hormoz has returned? 15. Yeah, he does. As a matter of fact, I think... no, it's not an exceptional. It's not an exceptional yes, but he does know. I'm going to say that he is in the brig. He really can't see anything. The door is solid. But he hears Hormoz. He hears Hormoz's voice as they're bringing Hormoz in. I mean, I didn't mean anything. I kind of panicked. It just happened. I don't even know. And he does hear them put Hormoz into a cell. All right. So my next assumption is that he is going to be questioned by Zoe Say. That's her name, right? Yeah. Terajah, Zoe Say. I get the two of them mixed up. Zoe Say is going to question him, being an agent of the Imperial Psychic Enforcement Bureau, the IPEB. So yeah, that's my expected scene. Is that what happens? So now we're going to roll D10 and try to roll less than that. We'll see if there's an altered or an interrupt scene. And I always have to look to see which is which, because I know even is one, odd is the other one. All right. Fate check. First scene. No. Where is it? Testing scenes. Here we go. All right. So if I roll an 8 or less, we do have a change to this expected scene. So what do we get? A 7. All right. And that is odd. So odd means... Odd is an altered scene. Okay, so it's not An interrupt scene, something. It is an altered scene. Okay, so altered. How could this be altered? I'm going to say the first thing that I think of, that instead of it just being Zoe Say, it is altered in that it is both Zoe and it is Commander Jin who come to Anselm's little brig cell and question him. So it's the two of them together. All right. Okay. So as they come in, so this is what I'm thinking. As they come in, Anselm does hear the maglock or whatever special fancy thing is happening. Somebody tapping on a keypad. The door is open, and in comes Zoe Say, and in comes Commander Jin. And this is the point where she does show Anselm that they have found this Psionic Institute button in Hormoz's clothing. I think it was not a very good idea to bring such incriminating evidence with you onto a naval base there, Anselm. I kind of expected an experienced scout might be a little more cagey, a little more aware of something like that. Anselm will say, I do not know where that came from. I know you're not going to believe me, but we found that on a modular cutter in this base. And Commander Jin, standing there, leaning back, giving him the very dubious eye, says, I find that very hard to believe, Anselm. Everyone here has been thoroughly screened. Everyone here has gone through the highest level of security, and I do not feel that anyone here is currently possessing of any kind of Psionic Institute paraphernalia. I like the word paraphernalia. Gives you an idea maybe what David Jin thinks about psionic powers. Anyway, Anselm is saying, look, okay, let me level with you 100%. I was sent here by Director Cavalon. So he says, yes, maybe it's time you actually do tell everybody the truth for a change. I understand. We did come here with a little bit of an agenda, but not the agenda that you were thinking. We did show up. We were sent by Director Cavalon because she has been receiving threatening messages from someone at this base. Again, Commander Jin gives him a little bit of a dubious glare. Indeed, and exactly what are these threatening messages in regard to? And Anselm says, it is in regard to many of the prisoner transports that have been happening from Vilmork to other places in the sector. I'm sure you have heard of this. You guys have no doubt heard about this. You've heard something about it. And they are doing that. Director Cavalon, over the past little while, has received many threatening messages from someone on this base saying that maybe the Scout Service should turn a blind eye to some of those transports. Her feeling is that there is going to be an attempt to liberate one, maybe more prisoners from one of those transports, and because the Scout Service is tasked with monitoring a lot of the traffic that comes through this part of the subsector, they want the Scout Service maybe not to be quite so diligent in monitoring that traffic so they can get away with it. And Zoe says, really? And you just happen to randomly bring a young fellow with psionic potential into a naval base? Anselm responds and says, oh, all right, Hormoz is someone that I picked up on Pirath, and he exhibited psionic abilities, but he is untrained. He has never been to a Psionic Institute. I think you can tell by the way he panicked and disappeared. And he has manifested various psionic abilities, but never from his own... He's never done it on purpose, I should say. He's never actually manifested them trying to achieve something. They just happen randomly, like when he is greatly stressed, like when he's confronted by two people in authority. And Zoe looks at him. She is a bit dubious. So is David Jin. And Zoe, I think, would be the one who would say, yes, we will definitely check with Director Cavalon about this. Did Director Cavalon know about Hormoz's abilities? And Anselm says, definitely not. No, I have not told anyone. I was keeping Hormoz with me because he did want to be trained, but I was keeping him with me because on Pirath, which you guys know, someone could easily get him, manipulate him, and use him for nefarious purposes. And I was trying to prevent that. That is why I was keeping him with me, and that is why, one of the reasons I wanted to expose him to Imperial service. Perhaps he could go that route instead of being manipulated by some sort of crime pirate lord to use his psionic abilities for nefarious means. And Zoe Snay does look at that. Does that affect her at all? I'm going to say this is going to have to be a traveler role instead of a mythic role. And it is going to be a social standing role for Anselm. So we're going to roll the 2 dice. And his social standing is 6, which will not give him any bonus, but doesn't give him a penalty either. And I'm going to say this is going to be kind of a difficult roll. So I think it's going to be a 10 or more. Yeah. So if he can roll 10 or more, he is kind of maybe convinced Zoe that what he's saying is on the up and up. So does he convince her? Not in the slightest. No, she is entirely unconvinced. How about Commander Jin? I feel like it's pretty hard for him as well, so 10 or more. No, neither of them are buying this story. They both are still rather dubious of Anselm and Hormoz. And Commander Jin says, well, we will see exactly what the truth is. Perhaps staying here for a few days, we will send for perhaps more rigorous interrogation methods to find exactly why you and this Hormoz individual have infiltrated my base. And so it's like, we didn't infiltrate. We came and you saw it. We're not trying to do anything, really. Please contact Director Jen. She does not know about Hormoz. Please feel free to tell her whatever you need to tell her, but we came on her request because she didn't want anybody to know that this was happening. I think you understand, Commander, why if somebody is threatening a member of the Scout Service, she might not want to make that public knowledge. The Commander still not terribly convinced, does say, well, we shall see. And they do leave, and the door closes. Bam! Does he hear Hormoz later on, sort of being questioned? Let's see. I'm going to say that again is unlikely. So that's a 65% chance or less that, yes, he hears. He does, and that is actually, no, it's not exceptional. But he does hear Hormoz being questioned. Again, Hormoz is freaking out. Hormoz is, I didn't know. I just, every once in a while these things happen. I don't do it. It just happens. I don't know. Is this a time when, from his stress, more psionic abilities happen? Let's find out. Because why not? I'm going to say right now, he is pretty stressed. Is it likely? Man, that's going to be 90%. Whew. I'm going to say 50-50. Again, 85% chance. Let's see. This is not going to go well for Hormoz if this happens. 12. Oh, dear. Exceptional, yes. Exceptional, yes. Which of the psionic abilities manifest as they are talking to Hormoz? Oh, poor Hormoz. Poor Hormoz. Let's find, once again, I always have to look up the page number in the Traveler book. So let's find this. Here we go. So psionic talents, again, we have 6, as I said before. So let's just roll the d6. See what happens. It is a 5, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is teleportation again. And suddenly Hormoz blinks out. I'm going to say they put him in a jumpsuit. A very generic kind of utilitarian jumpsuit. So that, well, we'll see if that disappears or not. All right, so teleportation, and believe it or not, I actually forgot how I did it last time already. So it's going to be a whole new experience for all of us. All right, so he does do teleportation. He does disappear. Let's see, what is the range? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Again, we're going to D10 for how far he goes. 10! Planetary! Oh my gosh, Hormoz is so stressed out, he leaves the planet. I did do that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes, Hormoz has now teleported again, and he has left this planet of Hesia Prime. He is in a whole different planet. Oh, heavens above. And let's see, did he take his clothes this time? Did he take his clothing? I think, let's see. I think we decided last time that he didn't, partially because of his power that he has. Okay. Clothes planet special is 7. Hormoz's psionic strength is a 6. I think, yeah, I'm going to say that Hormoz, again, shows up naked on a planet somewhere. So planetary range, does that mean, let me double check, does that say in here? He doesn't really have a lot of momentum. He has no knowledge. Ooh, planetary. It says here, pre-knowledge of destination. Must always have a mental image of his or her destination before teleporting. So, I can see that he knew just the general area around the base, because he and Anselm did come flying in on the Graven. But, I'm going to say that the only other place that Hormoz would know would be the scout base, which he's seen that, he knows that, and Pirath, where Anselm found him. Did he go back to Pirath? Oh dear. Let's see, planetary. Continent. Yeah, he could be at either. Okay. Do we want to roll? I think we do. Let's roll to see where Hormoz showed up. Okay. Hormoz. Did he... Well, the question, we have to ask a yes or no question of Mythic. So let me ask, did he go to Pirath? Because that's where we assume that's where Anselm has been, or not Anselm, Hormoz has been for a long time. So did he end up back at Pirath? Let's look. I'm going to say that is actually, I'm going to say that's nearly impossible, which gives us a 50-50 chance at Chaos Factor of 8. So nearly impossible that he ended up all the way back at Pirath. Let's find out. Did he? 82, he did not. He is not in Pirath, so I'm going to say he does end up back at the scout base. All of a sudden, Hormoz appears at the scout base. Oh, dear. All right. Set that aside for a moment. Anselm hears Hormoz, high-pitched, saying, "No, I didn't mean to. It just sort of happens." And suddenly, he does hear the same sound he heard when Hormoz teleported earlier, and he hears Commander Jin and Zoe say, like, "What? He did it again! Where can he have gone? Quick, send them out. Try to find where he is. I need a sweep of the entire area. I want, spiraling circles out to so many, kilometers and things like that." So he does. Anselm hears many, many feet running down the hallway. He hears, doors opening, slamming. He hears pieces of conversation. So Anselm is alone for a while with everything else. Phew. Okay, well. So, yeah, Hormoz is gone this time. Hormoz is really gone. Which leads me to something that I considered, and I think this is going to happen. I'm going to roll to see. There's a thing, and I'm not going to tell you what it is until I see if it actually happens. So I'm going to roll randomly to see if this thing happens. We're at Chaos Factor 8, and this is the expected scene. So first of all, should I do expected scene? That's probably what I should do. Should I? No, I'm just going to roll a fate roll. So the next thing that happens is, I'm going to see, does this thing happen? I'm going to say it's likely that this happens. So there's a 90% chance or less that yes, it's going to happen. So more than likely, it's just going to happen. But, give myself a chance. Might not. A 0-2. Yes, that is an exceptional yes. All right, Anselm is there in the brig for the rest of that day and the rest of the next day. Towards the evening of the second day of his incarceration, he has been fed. They do bring him some food. They maintain proper rules of keeping someone in the brig. And on the evening of the second day, Anselm has lost actual track of time, but it's evening, he does hear something. At first, it sounds like somebody is speaking to him. He quickly realizes that someone isn't speaking to him. He is hearing their thoughts. Dun, dun, dun! Yeah, whoever lost that Sonic Institute button is on the base, and they are now contacting Anselm with telepathy. And Anselm does hear a voice saying, "Hormoz is safe." And Anselm quickly looks around, and he's like, "Did I hear that? Is that my wishful thinking? Is that my internal monologue?" He does look around, and after nothing else is said, he does say, Who is this? Now, here's my question. When somebody contacts you with telepathy, do you hear their physical voice? You might not. I actually don't know. I'm going to say, again, we're at Chaos Factor of 8. Actually, no, we ended that scene, so actually I should see. That scene, I'm actually going to drop it down to 7, I think. We're going to end that scene, and we're going to drop the chaos factor down to 7. Even though Hormoz did teleport. Do we up it to 9? Do we max out the chaos factor? Brrr. You know what? I'm actually inclined to do that. I'm actually inclined to go the other direction. We're going to go to 9. We are going to go to 9. Hopefully it's going to drop down a little bit. Yeah, I just feel like with Hormoz teleporting to the scout base that we can't drop that. I think that would be a little, yeah, not exactly what we should do. So anyway, he does get a voice. Now, let me see. Do you hear the person's voice when they contact you with telepathy? I don't know. Don't know. I'm going to say at chaos factor 9, the lowest chance we have is 50%. So I'm going to say it is very unlikely, which is a 75% chance or less, that yes, when somebody contacts you, you do hear their voice. And that is going to be a 31. So yes, he hears a voice. Is this a voice he's heard? Because he's talked to David Jen, he hasn't talked to Avery, talked to Tara, he's talked to Devin Pecan, he's talked to Gabriel Mem, he's talked to Gabriel Copeland, and Hayden Lamas, and Zoe. So that's my question. First, I need to check my dice cam. So that is my question. Is this a voice he's heard before? 13, yes. Is that an exceptional yes? Let's double check. I was going to do... it is an exceptional yes. So he knows exactly who this is. And I'm going to say... Since he rolled an exceptionist, yeah. How many people has he talked to? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He's talked to 7 people. Technically with Zoe, he's talked to 8. Would it be Zoe? I don't think it would be Zoe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's talked to 7 people. Yeah, let me roll a d10. And yeah, if I roll anything over 7, I'll just re-roll. That's how we're going to do that. 3. So that is 1, 2. Kind of like I figured. He does recognize the voice. It is a voice he has heard before. It is the voice of Tara Jah. That is the voice that he hears in his brain. And he does say, he says, Tara? And the voice comes back, yeah. I was trying to be a little quiet, kind of disguised, but yeah, you got me. That button you found in the modular cutter was mine. I actually didn't even realize that I'd lost it. I thought I was more careful than that. And Anselm was like, Tara, I mean, this is a shock, but how do you know that Hormoz is safe? And she says, well, there are a few of us who are in Imperial service that maybe are not well known, and somebody was able to get him to somewhere safe. So don't worry, Hormoz will be okay. We're going to take him somewhere where he can learn to control those things and not have them happen just randomly. And Anselm is very relieved that Hormoz is safe, but he's also still concerned. He says, so Tara, I guess by now you've heard exactly why I'm here. Can you help me? Do you know who may be sending these threatening messages to Director Cavalon? I mean, I kind of assume that my mission in that respect is done, but I would still like to know, do you know who has been doing this? Does Tara know? I'm going to say, again, we are at such a high chaos factor that everything is very likely, but I'm going to say that it is nearly impossible that she would know. So that is a 65% chance or less that, yes, she does know. Why do you keep stopping? So does she know who has actually been sending these threatening messages? With an 85, she does not know. She does not know. Tara says to him, she goes, actually, no, I don't. I did not know about this until we all heard about it from... Sorry, I'm watching my dice game. She goes, I didn't know anything about it until... well, they really haven't said anything about it, but does she know it? Maybe she doesn't know. Actually, that would make more sense. She wouldn't know. It's not something that the commander and Zoe would make knowledge. They would not spread that around. So let me say Tara. I'm going to say Tara. She goes, no, I didn't know anything about that. Somebody's sending threatening messages to the director of the scout base? And so I was like, yes, they are, and that is why I'm sent here. So I want to resolve that for the director. maybe that would get me a little bit of goodwill, because I have a feeling once she hears about Hormoz, she may be a little upset. Has Tara heard about that? Is Director Cavalon very upset? Again, I kind of feel like she would be. So let's see. I'm going to say 50-50 chance, 85%. Okay. So Dice Cam has gone kablooey on me. So we're going to keep going without the Dice Cam. So 85% chance or less. No. She has not heard. I just rolled a 100. So Tara has not heard anything about anything. So yeah, she says, I will do what I can. I'll try to help you and see if I can see who might be doing this. I'm very... He's like, can you do it? I mean, if you have these powers, can you do it with your powers? And Tara's like, I'm very reluctant to use my powers, because now that we have somebody here from the IPEB, she could... Matter of fact, she could be monitoring this right now, so I need to keep this short. But I'll see what I can do. And Tara does break off contact. Yeah. And I'm going to say that's all the time we have. So, will Anselm ever get out of the brig of the naval base? And will Tara help him find out exactly who is sending these threatening messages? And is Director Cavalon going to trust Anselm, knowing that Hormoz, unbeknownst to her, had the sonic powers and was sent to the base sort of at her direction? I don't know. We shall find out next time. Thanks for watching this. Again, this was super chaotic, but that's part of the fun. Thank you for watching. Please like this if you liked it. Share it to somebody else or somewhere else if you know other Traveler enthusiasts or people that just like solo role-playing. And yeah, that always helps out, get more people's eyeballs on it. I thank you very much. I will see you next time.